This is the face of the enclosure. What we're going to do is put a plexiglass window from the backside. So if I lay this down here, we're going to put a piece of acrylic here that's on the laser right now, getting cut. And then this is just a backer board behind the acrylic. The acrylic itself is strong enough to hold, but I like to do this so when I go to tighten down it, the wood, when it starts to get too much stress on it, it will start to buckle and bend. The acrylic, to my knowledge, does not buckle or bend. It just, once it gets to the point of stress, it just shatters. And the cost of this stuff is way too expensive, so we're just gonna make a piece of insurance. It's still a rough shape, just pull off the CNC, so I've got to clean up a couple of these spots, do a round over, get it painted, and then we can start assembling. Here's the baffle, where the top is. There's going to be 3 layers of this. And then we're going to drill these and then put screw inserts. So the greatest thing about the Solo X sub is you can field replace. So if you blow the sub up, which is hard to do, but if you did blow it up, you can unbolt it and then unscrew 8 bolts in the back and 8 bolts in the front, and then pull the cone out and then put a whole new assembly back in. And in case that does happen, it makes it a lot nicer when the bolts can just unbolt rather than screw, because every time you put the screw in and out, it damages the wood. So we're going to make it more future-proof. God forbid he does blow these, they're going to be heavy. The sub box itself takes 5 sheets of wood, plus the subwoofers are 70 pounds. So this is going to be probably about 600 to 700 pounds. It's not going to be the easiest thing to deal with. So as easy as we can make it, we're going to do it. We've done first, we've cut this board on the CNC, so the square holes are cut exactly where the speaker is going to be. What we're going to do now is transfer this to the other 2 baffles. It's just a much faster way to do this rather than have the CNC do it all. This is template tape, so it's just a 2-sided adhesive tape that's designed to be temporary. As I just kind of put a few pieces up here. It's extremely thin, so it works really well on wood. It doesn't matter whether you put that one on this one or this one on that one. I'm just trying to make sure all the dust is off of this, just for best adhesion, less chance to mess it up and cost more wood, cause a wood waste. But these have been cut on the table saw, so I know they're exactly the same. And you saw me cut that a minute ago. It's going to get a decent close spot. The bigger the piece of wood, the harder it is to get it aligned like this. It's pressure activated, so it's not overly critical until it's all there. Now we've got a portable router. So what we're going to do first, we'll make sure the depth is good. So the depth of it, we're just going to cut through this top layer and use the bottom as a bearing, so that we'll just let the bearing roll right across this. But basically that's how it'll go in here. And when we wobbled this out a little bit, it makes the bit slide in perfect. So it's a 1/4 inch bit with a 1/4 inch hole. It makes it a little tight sometimes to slide that into it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to separate these pieces, but before I put them back together, I want to make sure I'm not going to mess up. So I'm going to make indexing marks. So there's that one. This way the lines always line up. So if I take it apart now, I wait 20, 30 minutes, an hour, a day, whatever, it gives me a reference where I'm putting them back together.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to make some pocket screws, and I'll show you that here in a second. We've just kind of adjusted this close. Pull it down until it stops. If you see here, we've got right here, if I can focus on it, there we go. So this little drill bit drilled through here and gave us a little hole, come out the other side. This is actually, come on, in focus. You're just gonna have to trust me on this one, but this way, there we go. We'll go all the way down, put pocket screws into this. We don't usually do this on the normal jobs, just on the bigger stuff that needs to be extra strong, so it never hurts adding more stability. I keep driving that screw, this tip further down. So now we are ready and prepped for bed liner. I did skip the last process when I applied all of the body filler, try to hide screw marks and just a little tiny gaps and stuff. Because even though bed liner is thick, it does cover a lot, it more so covers scratches. So if you had a panel that's a 16th or 32nd inch off, it will show. I have already prepped this by painting the edges of it black just because. It looks like I gotta tuck this in a little better. Just because when I'm trying to spray this, sometimes getting in the edge is a bit rough, and keeping the black separate from the white gets a little hokey sometimes. So it's all about prep work. Got the top all masked off. Once again, since these are 18-inch subwoofers, if I put a piece of paper there, I'm spraying about 100 PSI of bed liner on it, it will make it leave. So if I can just hold these down, we should be all set. So yeah, there's not very thick, but there's a bunch of bed liner here and there. Just trying to keep it crisp and sharp lines. Most of the box will be shown from this side here and a little up top. So that's where most of my focus has been. It stayed overnight, dried up. Let's go ahead and unwrap it and see what we got. It's like Christmas morning. I always want to do this at nighttime, but I don't want to risk messing it up. So we are just going to do it now. God bless. Pull that in here in a second. I'm not worried about some of this masking because the subwoofer itself will cover that. Back port. not to scratch anything. I'm glad I decided to use the metal brace instead of a wooden brace because it's smaller. All right, I'm gonna slide this out first. All right, Chris, I could use your help. Oh, yep, go on that side. Go over there. So we're not blocking the screen a little bit. And need to, you're going to bring a bolt through the front. I'm not sure which one. Probably like around there. Actually, go right here.
Right here.
That should be the. I'm trying to get you right there. You all the way through?
Yep, I'm all the way through.
All right. Bam. All right, we'll just kind of feed them in. You might have to just lift up on the bottom of the. Woo! Oh yeah, the center ones are probably going to fit in easier because I use those with the laser, so they're a slight bit larger.
Oh, I think I see part of the problem too.
What?
It's the spray.
Yeah, that's the next side of it. All right, now once you get the. Woo,
What are you? Like, get in the hole.
kind of just bump the end of it. All right, tell you what, let's go ahead and put these in that we can't stop. Don't put any more in yet. Let's put the backing layer on. Before we make it harder than we have to.
Oh yeah.
All right, so this is, okay, I got one on here.
That one's gone through. That one's through. I may have seen an issue.
Bolts are too short.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how I miscalculated that because these should be 1, 2, 3 layers thick. This is 1, 2, 2. No, it's not. How did I count that wrong? Did I order the wrong bolts?